Hi guys, in this video we are going to talk a little bit about testing and how important it is. Alright, so first let's discuss a little bit about coding. Uh, you are in the beginning of the course, so you are going to have very small pieces of code. Alright, but very soon your code is going to start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You are going to have functions and classes and other stuffs that Eric is going to teach you. And this video is very important to you to start doing tests from now, all right? Because it's one thing that if you start coding and testing your code in the right way, all right, your code is going to get much more organized. You are going to have much more control of your code, and you are going to finalize your quizzes and assignments much faster. So just for you to understand a little bit more, imagine what is a code, right? A code is they are files, and files has line of codes, and these files can call other files. This guy can call other file here. This guy can be called by other file. This then this file can be called by other file, and so on. This can be huge, alright? And inside each file, so let's expand this file. We have, for example, blocks of this code. So let's suppose that we have a function here, function 2, for example. And this file here, in fact, is calling the function 2 here, okay? And who's calling this guy is a function. This file here has a function 3 that in fact is calling function 2 of this file. And this guy here is inside here, we have function 3 is calling function 3 here. Alright, so we are calling function 3 of this guy here. So what happened? If you have a bug here inside function 2, alright, inside this file here, a bug, okay? If you have a bug here, you are going to have problem here and problem here. So what happened? If you do not make effort enough to fix this bug when you are developing, implementing this function 2, you are going to have problem here. So usually, let's put it in a graph just to understand. Imagine that this x is the size of your code, all right? Imagine that can be number of lines, can be number of functions, can be, is in other words, is how big your code is. And this is the number of bugs, okay? So usually when you are starting coding, you think that tests are not important. So when your code is very small, you find a bug here, then you fix. Then you find a bug here, you fix. Then you have more stuffs. Then here you find 2 bugs. Then you fix. Then here you find 3 bugs. But one of these bugs in this case is this example, is function number 2. Alright? So what you do, you come here and you fix here. However, if you are not careful, you can generate other bugs because you are going to change the code. Every time that you change the code, you can insert new bugs. So you can fix for this guy here, but you can break the code for this guy here. And this guy can be called by other guys. So what can happen is that number of bugs might increase. Alright, and it happens very fast when you realize your code is huge with bugs everywhere. You solve one bug, other bug appears, you solve other bug appears, and you start getting frustrated. All right. So imagine, in fact, what we want, of course, it's not this huge graph here. We want something like, okay, we find a bug, then we fix. We find a bug and we fix it, and we want to stay like this forever. All right. That one bug of this code here does not impact in the future for the other bugs. It still won't will happen. All right. That you did not think about a test to check one bug, and when you develop this guy here, this guy found a bug in this guy. However, if you are dealing in the way that we are coding, the way that we are going to discuss now, you are going to be able to control it much more. So let's go back to the code. So imagine this function that we have here. Okay, so I run this function. Is the same as the previous video. Is just passing a number and divisor, is returning the division of these two numbers. All right. So usually students come, they create this function. I have to create this, so they come here, they start doing this here, then here. Okay, everything is working. All right, so they come here and they delete these tests. All right, I will just comment because I'm going to use it afterwards. Then imagine that we have def func2, all right, that is going to receive a number and a divisor, just an example, a simple example, which return func1 number divisor. Okay, and I'm going to call this guy func. I'm going to copy this guy here, and result func2. So here is calling func2. Func2 inside calls func1, goes to func1 with number divisor, divides the number, and return to this guy here, which is going to return by function 2, which is going to assign to result. Okay, but imagine now in the previous tests that he did, they did these tests here, but he deleted. All right, and he's quite sure that function 1 is working. So he comes here and his code is calling 100 dividing by 0. Then he gets an error. All right, and if you are calling this function from other functions and other functions, this is going to be a huge list. And previous videos about bugs, watch that if you haven't watched. We discuss about these methods. So what happened here? Oh my god, I know that there's an error this function 1. I'm reading this, all right, but I've tested that it was working. Why is not working anymore? So what a human start thinking, that the machine is tricking him, is lying to him. But no, you did not test it for this case. All right, and sometimes the dangerous part is when this case here appears after you have coded for some time and your code is all interconnected with other parts and started getting complex. So this how to prevent this, or at least try to diminish this problem, is to create tests. All right, so have these lines in your code. Eric is going to talk to you, is going to teach you what is this in details. All right, it's beyond the scope of this video, but just for you to know. So what I want here, to start to do what we want to do, pass this line of codes, don't worry about it now. What should he had done before? Let's just get the codes before here. Okay, these guys that he have here should be inside the function. So the tests should have, each function should have its own test. So I'm going to call this guy here. All right, so I'm going to put 2. Alright, so let's run this. What happened? Now we have a different kind of message. This is test message for you. So, failed example. For this test case, which is we are here, alright? Have a look that he also shows you which test was the problem. What is saying? Fail this test because you are expecting 2, but I received 1. Alright? So it shows to you that your code did not pass you this test. Of course, because 100 divided by 100 is 1. Alright? So let's get other guys here. Let's put the other test that he did before. 2, 3. So 2 is going to be 50. 3 is going to be 33.3. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, of course, because it's float, and float he gets this kind of answer here. So let's see. Now passed everything. As you can see, doesn't have any message of errors. Alright. So let's go back to what happened. So imagine that he created this function and he created this test case. That's fine, perfect. He's coding with the tests. The tests are still there, perfect, great. So he came to this func2. He called 100 and 0. What's going to happen? Still is going to show him an exception, alright? 0 division error. Why that? Because your function 1 was not prepared to receive these numbers 0, 100 and 0. So in this case, when did he find this code? After he finished function 1. He's in function 2 or function 3, 4, 5, 100, doesn't matter. Alright? If still there's a bug in this function, don't freak out. This is also normal, alright? So what should you do? You should fix this part. In this part, when it's divided by 0, let's return 0. Alright? So let's run this. Still there's an error because I didn't fix this guy. So result equals this guy. But if divisor equals 0, return 0. Alright? Else, let's just return this result. No errors. No errors. And what happened? What is important to you to understand is that we found a new test case here. Okay? We added this new test case. We altered our code. We added these lines. Okay? And we kept the previous tests. So your code, because of this, because you started from the test case from beginning, and meanwhile you are coding, you are finding bugs, you are just adding new test case, in this way your code will be like this. Alright? Number of bugs is going to be controlled. Alright? So this is very important to do. This is very important to you. In the exam, you are going to see some test cases given to you. At least it was in the last sem. I believe it's going to be the same now. But this is going to help you to code. Okay? Also, what happened? Imagine now that so he improved function 1 and add the test. Now imagine that in function 2 I'm going to do this. Result is equals number divided by number minus divisor. Okay, I'm in a new function. What should I do? Test case. When I finish this function, I want to be sure that at least for the test case that I gave, it's passing. So let's see what is the result here. 100 and let's say 50. Okay, and here I'm going to sum with function 1. Result func1 equals this guy here, and I'm going to sum these guys. And returning the result. Just before that, just to get some data. 150. Let's run this. Print. Okay, 4. So 150 here, we got the result 4. Alright, I won't check the calculations. Alright, the stuff here is not to get the logic right. It's just an example. But what I want to show you is that, okay, I could this must be function 2. I ran this, everything is fine, no error. Alright, but imagine that now I put 100 here. What's going to have? Division by 0. However, where is the error now? It's in function 2. Alright, before we were getting division by 0 in this guy. However, in the logic of this function, the error start getting here. Okay, so here I should also create test case for 100, and in this case I'm going to return a string cannot calculate. Alright, so if number minus divisor equals 0, return cannot calculate, else I'm going to calculate all these stuffs. So let's see what's going to happen. Cannot calculate. No errors from the test case. Your code is great, it's awesome. Every function has its own tests. You are incrementing your code, your bugs are controlled. So please, it's really important to you guys to keep doing these tests from now. Alright, if you have any questions, please come to the tutor class. I'm more than happy to help you. I will do my best, and see you in the next video.